So have you ever stopped to ask yourself, which index fund should I buy? Which index fund is going to make me the most money over the long term? Or which index fund is going to be the safest bet for me and my money, which comes along with the least risk possible? Well, in this video, I'm going to be revealing the index fund that I'm buying up stock in each and every month and telling you why it's probably going to be the best decision for you and your money as well. Okay, so quite simply, when you're looking to choose an index fund to invest into, all you need to do is factor in three simple things. So when I was in the situation where I needed to select an index fund that I was going to buy continuously over and over again, each and every month for 30 years or so, I continually ran into these 3 points over and over and over again. So first up, we have low fees. Now it goes without saying, you don't want to be overpaying for something that you can get cheaper with somebody else. So low fees make sense. However, to go along with the low fees itself, you also want to be making sure that you're investing your money with a reputable, trustworthy company, because after all, this is the company and these are the people that are going to be managing your cash with each month that goes by. And with each month that goes by, that cash and that balance is going to get larger and larger and larger. So you do need somebody and you do need a company with a reputable brand image, if that makes sense. So you don't just want to quickly snap up the company which is trying to compete on price to get your custom. Now they may be super cheap, but they might not have that reputable image or even that long-term lineage if they're newer to the marketplace. So with this first point, you want to be balancing out these two things. You want to try and find a company what's offering out low fees, but at the same time have a reputable company with a respectable brand image, which isn't some sort of sketchy company which is just popping up and has no lineage in the marketplace. So what I recommend is using one of Vanguard's index funds. They have low fees in each of their funds, and to go along with that, they also have a solid brand reputation as well. Now just to be clear, there are companies what are slightly cheaper out there. You've got things like Trading 212 and Invest Engine and a few others which are a bit cheaper than Vanguard, and all of which are all protected under the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority. So basically you're just looking for that balance of low fees and a respectable brand, and ideally, well definitely they want to be protected under the FCA should something go wrong with that company. So number two, you need to consider diversification. Now this one is really, really important. Putting all your money into just one country is very, very risky. So while the US stock market, and more specifically of course the S&P 500, has performed really well historically, recent analysis which has come out from Vanguard suggests that the US may underperform international stocks by quite some way. So that right there is why it's better and more sensible to invest in a global or an all-world fund. It spreads your investment across thousands of different companies across dozens of different countries, and it makes sure that your investment in the index fund that you choose isn't heavily reliant on one single economy, for example America or the UK, outperforming another one. So like I touched on, you definitely do not want to be overweight in any one individual country. You want to diversify your cash all over the world and grow in line with the economy and with the stock market as a whole. Now finally, before we jump into point number 3 and I'll let you in on which index fund that you should be buying with your cash, in my personal opinion, I just want to let you in on my profit tracker that I've developed if you're looking to keep a close eye on the spending that you're doing. You can go ahead and download this using the link in the video description if you're looking to keep a close eye on your spending and get a really solid feel for how much money you're able to save and gain with each month that goes by, and exactly where all that money is being saved to. And you can see if you end up with more money in your bank account versus the previous month, I've developed this sheet to give you this nice green number right here which tells you just how much better off you are. Whereas if you've had a bad month and you're slightly worse off, this number will be highlighted in red for you, and again you'll be able to see how much worse off you are versus the previous month. And to top it off, you can even look at how much your profits are growing each and every month using this nice little chart which I've developed within the profit tracker as well for you. Now this sheet, it works really nicely with Microsoft Excel, and don't worry, if you've not got Excel, you can also plug it into Google Sheets, which is completely free to use. So yeah, check out that link which is in the video description and go and download this profit tracker to use for free. So moving on to point number 3, you now need to make a decision on what you're going to do with any dividends that you get paid as a result of investing into the index fund. You can either A, reinvest any dividends that you get back into the fund of your choice and keep doing that every time you get paid dividends, or B, take the dividends out, withdraw them to your bank account, and then, do whatever you want with them, use them as cash. Now, just one quick Google search around this topic brings up loads and loads of articles and dozens of videos which are all centred around this one specific topic, and for good reason. It is a good question. Although the temptation might be to withdraw any dividends that you get as cash to your bank account and then go and treat yourself on something nice, especially as your portfolio continues to grow and a little bit further down the line when you've got a really decent sized portfolio, and each year you could be earning north of £5,000 of profit just from the dividends alone, if not larger, if your portfolio gets to that size. That temptation might become, take that cash out, treat yourself to a nice holiday, buy something nice and new around the house, for example. However, from a purely mathematical standpoint, the maths dictates that you should get any cash that you receive from the dividends and put it back into your index fund of choice whenever you get the chance to do so. Because over the long term, the profits that you'll have from reinvesting any dividends that you get will outweigh the short-term gains and the short-term dopamine hits of taking out those dividends and spending them on something that you want at the time. So from a purely mathematical standpoint, it's best to reinvest any dividends, avoid those short-term highs and those short-term dopamine hits, and over the long term, financially, mathematically, you'll be much better off. So at this point, we have 3 super important factors laid out nicely on the table. We need to choose an investment and an index fund which is cheap and we get low fees on it. And to go along with that, the provider that we choose needs to have a solid brand reputation. It's very important that we diversify our cash into as many different countries all across the world. So for example, we're not just throwing all our cash into the American stock market with the S&P 500, because that's what everyone's heard of, the S&P 500. Or alternatively, we're not just putting all our cash into an index fund which tracks the UK stock market, because that's where we're from and that's where we live and that's what we feel comfortable doing. Keep it simple and keep it smart. Hedge your bets and just invest into a global fund and invest into the entire world and invest into everything. And we've made our decision on what we're going to do with the dividends that we get paid, as we just touched on. The mathematical decision and the smart decision from a maths standpoint is to reinvest any dividends that you get. So now all we need to do is match that criteria and those 3 points that we've touched on to a specific index fund. And that's what I did, that's what I do, that's what I continue to do each and every month. And the index fund that I've chosen and I invest my money into is VWRP. So as you can see, this Vanguard fund invests my money into 3,630 stocks. My dividends, they get reinvested every time I get them. The fund itself has low ongoing charges, and the fund itself has very, very good diversification across each of the different countries that your money is being invested into. And you can see long term, this fund performs really well. This is a 12-year snapshot of the distribution version of the fund, which you can see has been a very, very sensible place to park your cash. So in a nutshell, my recommendation is an all-world fund. I choose Vanguard as the platform, and the fund I choose is the VWRP Accumulation Fund. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time watching this video, and if you like my way of breaking things down and you like my way of explaining things, you'll probably like this video, which is just popping up on screen right now. Check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.